Welcome to another WMUG virtual event. I'm Robert Marshall, MVP and System Center 2012 Configuration Manager and Community Leader at the Windows Management User Group. In this session, Justin Chalfant from PatchMyPC gives us an overview of the PatchMyPC software updates catalog and then dives into a demo on how to implement it in the environment. Thanks for your time, Justin. Over to you.
Thanks, Rob. My name's Justin Chalfant. I'm the primary developer for the PatchMyPC SCUP catalog. What our catalog does is it allows you to integrate third-party updates into Configuration Manager with your normal Windows updates you would deploy with SCCM. Our catalog currently offers 45 different products, third-party applications. Here's a list of them on our site, and that is patchmypc.net/SCUP if you want to view it. The catalog costs $1 per managed SCCM client per year. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and start the demo to show you how you would implement the catalog once you purchase it into Config Manager using SCUP. So I'm logged into my Configuration Manager server. I've installed WSUS 3.0 Service Pack 2, and I've applied the 2 Windows hotfixes for Windows 8 and Server 2012 support that's required before you install SCCM 2012 Service Pack 1. I would recommend installing these before you install SCUP, or you're going to have to republish your updates. I'm going to go ahead and launch the command prompt window as administrator. If you have UAC control enabled, you need to run as administrator to install SCUP and this hotfix. This hotfix is a prerequisite you need before you can publish updates using SCUP to Config Manager if you're using WSUS 3.0 Service Pack 2. If you're using WSUS that's built into Server 2012, you won't need to apply this hotfix. The KB number is KB2530768. Alright, so that hotfix applied successfully. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off the installation of the System Center Updates Publisher. It's an MSI. Here's the warning that tells you that you need to apply the hotfix we just applied before installing it. If you did, you should be able to click Next on here. I'm going to accept the license agreement and choose the default location. Next. Okay, so SCUP was installed successfully. We menu now. If you're using, if your server has user account control on it, you're going to want to make sure you run the SCUP console as administrator. The first time you launch SCUP, it's going to create a local database that's used for the SCUP database that you're using. So if you ever install SCUP on a different machine and you want to copy all the content that you have within your console, it stores it under local app data, System Center Update Publisher, and then it's this database file right here. So if you create custom updates and publications and catalogs and you want to move that to a different computer, this is a useful file that you can use to get the same environment that you've used to publish updates into your SCUP console on a different machine. Okay, I'm going to start with the options here. I'm going to enable publishing to an upstream server. I'm going to be running SCUP on the same console that WSUS is installed on. So I'm going to choose the local update server here. If WSUS was on a remote server, then the SCUP console, you would just choose this option here and then choose what port you're using. Go ahead and click Test Connection. And we should receive this connection succeeded, but no signing certificate was detected. Go ahead and click OK on that. And I'm going to create a self-signed certificate to use to sign my updates that I publish from SCUP. If you had PKI set up, you could use your own file. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create here. Okay. And that's going to create a certificate in the MMC console in the certificates node. So I'm going to go ahead and add that into my view here under the computer account. And then click OK. And we should see this WSUS folder here now, and then certificates. And this is the WSUS self-signing certificate that we just created that SCUP is going to use to sign the updates. The next option we want to look at is the Config Manager server. We want to enable Config Manager integration and then click Test Connection. If Config Manager is installed on a remote machine, you can choose this option here and enter the host name and click Test Connection. We will cover this threshold values later on in the video, but this can control how updates get published either with full content or metadata based on how many clients need the update and the size of the update. By default, the 0 megabyte value, that doesn't take effect unless you actually enter a number here. And the client threshold, so if there was an update that was regardless of the size of it and you had this option enabled, as long as one client needed it, it would publish it with full content. And we'll cover that later on when we are publishing the updates. And click OK on this. So next thing, we need to import this certificate that we created into the Trusted Publishers and the Trusted Certification Authorities. And click Next on here and Export. We're going to choose the default value here, the default here, and then we're going to choose a location to store this certificate. So I'm going to save it to my Config Manager server. I have a sources folder and then certificate. This could be wherever you want to save it, just as long as you have access to it. Okay, so now that we export the certificate, we're going to want to deploy that certificate to clients in our server. So I'm going to log into my domain controller here, and I'm going to do this by group policy. You could use a different method to deploy it. You could deploy it through Config Manager, but I find group policy to be the easiest way to deploy this certificate. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new group policy. Under the policies, under computer configuration policies, Windows settings, security settings, we want to go to the public key policies, and we want to import a certificate into the Trusted Root Certification Authorities. Click Next on the wizard. This is where we want to choose the file that we use to export that certificate to. So I put in this folder right here. Okay, and you also need to import it into the Trusted Publishers. Okay. Next thing we need to do is there's another option here that we have to enable to allow updates published from SCUP to be installed on clients. under Windows Components and then Windows Updates, we can see this option here to allow signed updates from an Intranet Microsoft Update Service location. We need to make sure that this option is enabled. Okay. And that's all we need to do as far as the group policy goes in order for clients to be able to detect updates and install them correctly. So I'm going to click Exit on here. I'm going to go back to my Configuration Manager server. And if we look here, we don't have the certificate in Trusted Publishers or Trusted Root. So I'm going to go ahead and do a GP update on here. Okay, let me refresh. Now we should see here in the Trusted Publishers that certificate's been populated, and in the Trusted Root Certification Authority that certificate's been updated. So I'm going to go ahead and import the catalog. So once you buy the catalog, you'll receive an email with a location that your catalog is, and that's going to be hosted here. This is just a catalog for demo purposes here. So if we go into our catalogs workspace in SCUP and click Add, you can just paste this path here for your catalog. Okay, so here's the location of the catalog we're using for this demo. I often get asked how will we know when the catalog gets updated on the server side? How will we know to update on our end? Do we have to re-download it? So you won't have to do that. I'll show you what it would look like when we publish an update and how it would be received in the SCUP console. So I'm going to go ahead and import this catalog that we just added. The first time that you download the catalog and import it, you're going to have to accept the publisher here. So I'm going to click Always Accept Content from PatchMyPC. That's our certificate we use, and click Accept. Okay, I'm going to click Close on there. So now we should have all the different updates that we offer through our catalog. I'm going to go ahead and update the catalog on the server side to show you what it would look like when a new update gets pushed to our server side of things, how you would go and know that the catalog's been updated and what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and close the console. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so let me relaunch it. So I updated the cab file for this catalog we're using for this demo, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when an update gets published on our end and how you would go about importing the new catalog. So it's going to do a check when it first launches to see if the catalog that you're using has been updated on the source location. We can see it has here. So I'm going to look at the Firefox updates. I added version 19.0.2. So if we go back to the overview, we should be able to import this catalog, and it's going to go ahead and bring you to the catalog that's been updated. You would just click Next here and Next. And you can see that we have 130 updates. Before we had 129. So we can see that one update was imported. And if we go down here to Firefox, we should see version 19.0.2. So that would be how the catalog would get updated when we publish new updates into your SCUP console. So I'm going to go ahead and publish a few updates that we're going to use in this demo to show you what it would look like when you actually deploy updates to clients. So I'm going to go ahead and create a publication, and that's in the workspace right here. What a publication is a group of updates, and a publication organizes it for you. So you could have maybe a publication by the month, by the quarter, by the product. It's completely up to you. So it's just a way to organize when you deploy updates. So I'm going to assign Firefox to a publication. The automatic value will publish the metadata the first time you publish the update. So that would just allow clients to detect that update in the catalog and see whether or not they need it or not. And that threshold of whether one or more clients need it would determine whether, when you publish this update again, whether it downloads it with full content or not. The full content option is going to download the binaries for the update, and metadata will only download the metadata for the update so computers could detect whether they need it or not. So I'm going to publish this one with full content because I know a computer is going to need this, and I'm going to call it March 2013 Updates. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more into this publication. I'm going to add Java 7 Update 17, so we could just click Assign here. I'm going to publish it with full content and then assign it to the publication we already have. I'm going to add Adobe Air. Add FileZilla. I'm going to add Notepad++. And I'm going to add VLC Player. Okay, so now if I go down to the Publications workspace, we can see this March 2013 updates and the updates that we assigned into that publication. So I'm going to go ahead and click Publish, and since we assigned them all to full content, you're not going to get an option here to change that. And here's the description of the different publication types. So we have automatic, like we mentioned, full content, where it actually downloads the update, and then metadata, where it only publishes the information about the update. I'm going to click Next here, and then Next. So the first time that you download the update, if it's not trusted, the publisher for the actual update file, you're going to have the option here to ask every time or always accept. So I'm going to go ahead and always accept it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and accept the publisher for the Adobe Air update. Go ahead and accept the one for FileZilla. Okay, so all 6 updates were published to WSUS with full content. So I'm going to go ahead and click Close on here. Minimize this. Here. And now that we published the updates, we want to go ahead and synchronize our software update point in Configuration Manager. I'm going to go ahead and manually launch a synchronization. And I'm going to look at the WSUS Sync Manager log. So this process will probably take around 3 minutes. So while we're waiting for that to finish, I'm going to go ahead and go to the administration workspace, site configuration, and then sites. And I'm going to take a look at the software update point, and then go to products. So you can see here that we don't have any products selected. I don't have any Microsoft products selected as well, just so we can only see the updates that we publish. Okay, so the sync is done. You can see that the database wasn't updated, and that's because the products weren't selected. So if we go back here into Sites, Settings, Software Update Point, we should see new vendors there under the products. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of the ones that I just published. You will only have to do this one time. Once you update the catalog and republish an update that you've already synchronized here, it will go ahead and pull those updates right in. So I'm going to go ahead and sync one more time to get those updates actually within the console. I'm going to jump over to one of our client computers that we are going to use to test these updates. So we can see we have some outdated versions of software installed on here. These are the updates that we were publishing just to test out the update. I'm going to go ahead and run a GP update /force just to make sure we get the certificate on this computer and the WSUS setting for allowing published updates. So we should have those certificates here. So we see the WSUS cert here and also in the trusted. If you do not have these in your client computers you're trying to deploy updates to, it will fail. Let me go ahead and close this. Minimize this. Okay, so we can see the new companies that we have here synchronizing up that we added. We can see the updates starting to pull into the config manager database from WSUS, and we can see that our database is updated and the new version is 1. So if we go over here and let me just come back into our all software updates, we can see these updates that we pulled down. I'm going to go ahead and create a deployment. So you would deploy these updates just like any other Microsoft updates you would publish through Configuration Manager. So I'm going to go ahead and click Deploy here. Right. I'm going to download the updates to this share here. I'm going to call the update 2013 Quarter 1 Third-Party Updates, and I'm going to call the software update group the same thing here. I'm going to choose the collection All Desktops and Clients to deploy it to. I'm going to make it available just so you can see the updates and show all messages. The available time, I'm going to make it as soon as possible. I'm going to display all notifications for this demo. Go ahead and choose this option here. And this really depends on how you deploy your updates of how you want to choose the settings for the deployment. I'm going to create a new deployment package. I'm going to call it the same thing I named my update group and deployment. I'm going to choose this location to download the updates. Next. Choose the distribution point I want to add the updates to. Click Next. Download software from the internet. So this is actually going to be pulling the software update from your configuration manager or from your WSUS content location since we've already downloaded it using SCUP. So this process should only take a few seconds or so. Okay. Click OK on there. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, let me just refresh this here. All right, let me try to re-download VLC Player. There we go. So it looks like there must have been a hiccup there. I'm going to go ahead and add this to our software update group that we created. Okay. Okay, so if we click our software update group, we should be able to see those 6 updates that we created and we deployed. Okay, so here's our deployment group. I'm going to go ahead and click on Assets and Compliance, then Device Collections. I'm going to refresh the machine policy on these computers. I'm using right-click tools to do that. And click Exit. So I'm going to jump over to our Windows 7 client. And it looks like it's already pulled in those updates because it refreshed the policy. Let me go ahead and click on the balloon. Alright, so we can see the 6 updates are now available because we made the deployment available. And we can see all the outdated versions that are currently installed. So I'm going to go ahead and click on all of these and click Install. So once we get to this point, it's essentially the same thing as deploying any other updates. As far as the client is concerned, you can control everything as you would a typical update deployment. Alright, so it looks like all 6 of these were deployed successfully. So let me go ahead and refresh here. And we should see all the latest versions that we published installed on the machine. I would like to thank you for watching this video on the PatchMyPC SCUP demo. We can be contacted at patchmypc.net. Our email is support@patchmypc.net. And support.patchmypc.net is also our support forum where you can ask questions about the catalog and get answers. Thank you.